But no, Captain Mitchell was telling me last week that across the board, alcohol and drug-related fatalities have increased 2%, except in Troop C. And he was telling me the numbers, and I was just flabbergasted. While everyone has been rising at least 2%, we've seen a decrease of at least 22% in alcohol and drug-related fatalities, and that's just incredible. You know, we still have a long way to go. We still want to make that zero, and we want to have zero fatalities.
Right.
You know, but it's working. I really think it is working.
Now, targeting the DWI checkpoints in particular, I've been to several of the DWI checkpoints with you and the state police, but I don't know what goes behind the scene when Desi's back at the troop trying to make what's going on over there. What happens during a regular DWI checkpoint on your end, Desi?
Well, Rainie, like Matt was talking about before, we're basically just an extension of the eyes and the ears, and in some cases the mouth of the trooper. I'll explain that in a second. Anything they could miss, a license plate on a stolen vehicle, a wanted person, oftentimes, of course, they have to call it in to us before,
right,
we can do anything about it. But oftentimes, you'll just run things as they pass, as the vehicles pass. You'll run things and you'll catch little bitty things, nothing big, but it's all in the interest of trooper safety. Acting as the mouth, we are the people who get to wake you up in the middle of the night if one of your loved ones has decided to have too much to drink and drive a car.
Oh, goodness.
To come and pick up the vehicle. Rather unpleasant task, because we've had some people pretty upset, but that's what happens when you decide to drink and drive.
Right.
That pretty much encompasses what we do back there, and anything else the troopers will need, they just ask.
So I know oftentimes that what turns into a regular traffic stop, even a DWI could probably turn into maybe an arrest if they're a record or something else that
That's
pertains to that pulls up.
That's right. Had that happen more times than once. Oftentimes you'll find in the history of someone maybe some drug arrests or something like that, and that'll lead the trooper into a possible vehicle search. And that vehicle search that resulted from your findings could result in an arrest for maybe a large amount of narcotics or something similar.
That's good. Also, another part of the traffic stat program, like you briefly mentioned, is the Zero for December. And I know right before we started in December, y'all had brought this out to the public announcing and said, okay, this is the deal. We want 0 fatalities for December. A lot of the other troops looked at y'all like y'all were crazy.
Yeah, I think they still are.
But even though we have had 2 fatalities, which I guess were down from last year, still too many. But what is the impact of 0 for December? What impact does that have on our motorists?
Well, we like you said before, we have had 2 fatalities in our troop area this December so far, and those every life lost is a tragedy. When
Right.
it becomes that much closer to the holiday season, it becomes that much worse. You've got families coming in, and I know I've talked to you about this before, but you've got Christmas presents underneath the tree, and on Christmas Day when everybody's opening their presents, and you've lost a loved one, there's always a little group sitting underneath the Christmas tree that'll just never be open. So you really have to, look at that, and it's just the whole big tragedy. We have lost 2 in our troop area this December so far. And you're right, people did look at us like we were crazy, with a 0 for December. How are you going to do that? We usually average between 5 and 7 fatalities every December, and that's all part of the traffic stat program. This 0 for December campaign really stemmed from the traffic stat program. It doesn't matter if people think that we're crazy or not. We have a good program that we want to push. The whole goal of it is to save lives, and let people think that we're crazy. That's fine. We just want to save lives. The first fatality that we had was on December 9th, and that was on 308 just north of Raceland. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we did have another fatality in a neighborhood in Schriever, and that was a single vehicle which involved a motorcyclist who, what we're thinking is probably going a little bit too fast, going a little over the speed limit. He went off the road and was ejected from his motorcycle. The important thing to remember here is while it is a tragedy, we can also learn from this. This was the 6th motorcycle fatality that we've had in our troop area this year. And out of all of those fatalities, not one was wearing a motorcycle helmet. Would he have been saved with a motorcycle helmet? You can't say.
You can't
it's
tell,
impossible to say, but I really would have liked to see the odds if he had been wearing a motorcycle helmet. You know, they came in, they changed the laws up, made it a choice to wear a motorcycle helmet, which is fine and dandy. We're still recommending, highly recommending wearing a motorcycle helmet. That's the only piece of safety equipment that you have available to you on a motorcycle.
And sometimes 9 times out of 10, it could mean the difference between life and death.
Exactly, and the sad thing is, once you're killed, we'll never know.
You never know.
You never know.
Also, too, another thing that you stress a lot and we talk a lot is about seatbelt. It's the law. You got to wear one. But there are some people who don't, and that brings it back to the ball back in your court where y'all figure out ways that y'all could implement or enforce the seatbelt law. There was a study done recently. Could you tell us the result of that study?
Part of my job description is every once in a while I have to go out and do a study. So if you see me on the side of the road looking and putting my head down writing something, then I'm probably conducting a seatbelt study. We have been very successful over this past year, over the ones that I've done with the seatbelt studies. You know, the ones that I've done, we usually average right around between 85 to 88% compliance of people wearing their seatbelts. And for the longest time, I thought, well, they must see me about a mile up the road and put their seatbelt on. And I kind of had that going in the back of my mind, but that's really not the case that we're starting to see. The state of Louisiana has called in independent independent private organizations to come in and do studies on seatbelt usage. And to be honest with you, they got the same exact kind of numbers that I did. And they're sitting on the side of the road in just a plain, unmarked, non-police looking car. Just observing. So they got the same numbers as we did. The good thing about it is that Houma-Thibodaux area is now able to say that we have the highest amount of compliance with seatbelt laws in the state. Where everybody else is either stay the same or even dip below, we're the highest in compliance. We're right around 85-87%, and that really says a lot for our area as far as the drivers in our area, because I think people are starting to get the message. You know, we've gone out there, we've had the educational talks and the speeches that we give, the educational promos.
Starts with the kids,
right?
Definitely.
You know, and wear your seatbelts. And if parents aren't wearing their seatbelt,
tell
we tell
mom
the
and
kids.
Daddy.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have the enforcement. That's the things that not a lot of people like to see, that we're out there on the side of the road writing tickets. But there's a reason for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some of the other troop areas, like I said, we're falling below the compliance, their compliance level. We're rising above, and we like to see that, especially in this type of area. You know, you look at one of the main excuses that we get is that, well, seatbelts are going to make me drown if I go into a bayou, which is, you know, and I explain it's not necessarily the case, because if you're strapped in your seatbelt, there's a 99.9% chance that you're not going to get knocked out and go unconscious, and you can be able to get out of your seatbelt and get out of the car. Once you start wearing your seatbelt, you become so used to it that it's just it's habit. You know where the seatbelt latch is, and you know how to get out of it, and it's not electric. You know, you just press a button, you're out in about 2 seconds. If you aren't wearing your seatbelt, there's a good chance that when you hit that bayou or hit that water, then you can get thrown into the pillar of the car or thrown into some other part of the car. You will get knocked out, or there's a good chance that you can be knocked out. And once you're knocked out and unconscious, and there's a very good chance that you're not going to be able to get out of that car. So, you know, even this area, when we have a lot of bayous and waterways, people are still wearing their seatbelts, and that really speaks a lot. And you're going to hear a lot more about this in the coming months, because we're really going to play this up. We're very proud of our area here. We're very proud of the citizens of the area taking the heat and beginning to wear their seatbelts.
And also, too, starting next year, we'll see what I guess what Nicholls State students have created as far as the tailgating campaign goes.
That's right. Yeah, we've actually started giving out some of the television public service announcements yesterday. So you should start to see them coming up real soon. But we're going to have probably some bumper stickers made. We went over to Nicholls and we said, this is what we want to do. They took the ball and ran with it, and it's just overwhelming what they came up with. But you will see a lot more of that in the coming months.
And, of course, wanted to wish both of you all a Happy New Year. Thank you so much, Desi, for coming over and sharing your job with us and sharing a part of yourself with us. And we hope to talk to you in the future and for 2002 and the future episodes of Trooper Talk. And Matt, as always, this is cool. This is something that me and Matt created. We were talking at the Traffic Stat program, and it started off as an idea between Matt and Captain Mitchell, and it's developed into a habit, a good weekly habit. Got to have at least one good habit, right?
And again, we want to thank KTIB for their support. You know, it's all about getting the message out to people.
That's what we're here for.
Y'all are doing a great job with that. Thank you.
And thank both of y'all for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here, because I know the holidays are busier than most of your regular weekends. So thanks, guys.
And thank you for having us.
And you have a happy New Year. Be careful.
Same to you guys. And y'all be careful on the roads as well. You're listening to Trooper Talk, a public service of Oldie 640 KTIB.